we, 80% of the Indians, have a habit of doing almost everything at the last moment. Preparing for the exams at the last moment, paying the bills at the last moment, including protesting against the government policies at the last moment. This has to be changed now. If all of us can take one decision very well in advance, tomorrow neither you nor any of your family member would be protesting like today what's happening in India. And this can happen only by cleaning the state assemblies and parliament, which means by giving an invaluable support to NOTA, N-O-T-A, NOTA, none of the above, which you usually find them in the electronic voting machines, EVMs, as the last button. In few countries, we call them as scratch vote and against all. This was introduced in India upon the instruction of the Supreme Court of India to the Election Commission of India on 27 September 2013. This was designed by Professor Tarun Deep Giridhar of National Institute of Design. Now, at this point of time, what is NOTA and which role NOTA is playing? Before the introduction of NOTA, our EVM machines are like a Facebook page, and now it is like a YouTube page, which means, in a simple language, I'm differentiating it. When you see any post in Facebook, if you don't like it, you just come out of it. You don't have an option of a dislike button. Whereas in the YouTube, you have a dislike button. Now, like let's say you have seen the contestants who are representing your constitution, and you understood that the contestant is an unpad gawar, a person known for the nefarious practices or a person with the criminal history. You have decided to vote for NOTA. You walk all the way to the polling booth and you have voted for NOTA, none of the above. And what happens? If NOTA wins, nothing much happens. Nothing. And this is what we have to change. And together we can bring the change. With my experience, I've made a 150-page book with a lot of sub-clauses, but here I'm just giving a short explanation of it in just 10 minutes. If NOTA wins in any constituency, re-election must happen in that constituency. Yes, re-election must happen. You can confront me, Professor, in India, elections is a very serious and inexpensive business. Very expensive. We cannot waste the taxpayers' hard-earned money into conducting the re-election. Yes, I admit. So here my amendment is, the expenditure which is going to happen in the re-elections has to be borne by the political parties and the candidates who have lost to the NOTA in the first case and re-electing and going for the re-elections in the second case. Yes, I repeat, the political parties and the candidates who have lost to NOTA in the first case, in the first election, and again contesting in the second election, they will be bearing the cost of the expenditure equally. So costing parameter is taken care. Now the second amendment from my side is, the candidates who have lost to NOTA, I repeat, the candidates who have lost to NOTA in the first election should not contest in the re-election. Yes, should not contest. For example, from the BJP, Ram Lakhan is a contestant, and from the Congress, Sheikh Mohammed is a contestant. Both of them contested and both of them lost to NOTA in the first case. So in the second case, in the re-election now, Ram Lakhan and Sheikh Mohammed should not contest in the re-election. This means now the political parties have to replace the candidates. And here I would like to make one point, please. Each political party has minimum 10% of good people. Yes, You do the research and see you've got amazing people in each political party. That's the reason I often requested a lot of people, including my students, that you don't say I hate BJP or I hate Congress. Because when you say you hate BJP, you are actually hating the people who worked for BJP at the same time, who are working for the BJP. Take an example of Atalji, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, Sushma Swaraj ji, Nitin Gadkari ji, this side Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, PV Narasimha Rao ji. You cannot hate them. Right? You basically hate the people, but not the political parties. So I request you just to refrain by stating I hate BJP or I hate Congress. Now, coming to the point. So these political parties has to replace the candidates. So now earlier the candidates were slightly normal or bad candidates. Now you have got some good candidates in the second election. Now again, the very important thing is, when NOTA wins in the first case, right, the confidence of the independent candidates will be bolstered to the invaluable level. Yes, there are a lot of independent candidates in each constituency who understands the problems of the constituency, who are very well educated, but they're in the hallucination that everyone in India will vote by accepting money. If NOTA wins in the first case, definitely the confidence of these independent candidates will be bolstered. They will come and contest in the re-elections. Yes. This means your first scenario was selecting a candidate, a best out of the worst, correct? Whereas now the scenario is almost like a best out of the best. Yes. 50% of the success will happen and we will achieve this if the re-election happens. Now the question to me, Professor, what if second time also NOTA wins? Again, please, I have lot of sub-clauses, 5 more minutes. If second time also NOTA wins, I have to talk something about, because it doesn't make sense going for re-election. Definitely doesn't make sense. Now here, I have to talk something about just a slight aberration. I'm going to speak about an act called Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. I repeat, Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, which got amended in the year 2015, and the fresh amendment has happened in the year 2019. As per this act, any room, any closed room, take an example of this conference room, could be converted into a courtroom. Yes. One side you'll have a complainant, other side you'll have a respondent. They are very simple words. Complainant, if take an example of a builder has delayed a construction of the project and the customer has incurred losses. So customer has raised a complaint. So customer is going to be complainant, who is supposed to answer is going to be a respondent. Usually these cases, like this, breach of contract cases, all those things used to take 4 to 5 years, and customer has to run around court and a lot of expensive, in fact the sensitive cases like divorce and all, right? Now it's not required to go to the courts and all. You can convert any conference room into a courtroom, and one side you have a complainant, other side you'll have a respondent. In the middle you will have an arbitrator who is a retired judge. Yes, retired judge. Hats off to these retired judges, please, seriously. They understand the pain of the judiciary, how much each judge is taking the pain, and even after they getting retiring, they are reducing the pain on the judiciary by working like this. Now my point is, the team of these retired judges, I can say pride of these retired judges, must be directly reporting to the President of India. I repeat, President of India. Now President of India will pick one of these retired judge and deploy him as an MLA or MP of the constituency where NOTA has won for the second time. Can you imagine? Retired judge. Again you can confront me, Professor, you've got a very, very less judges. Yes, I admit. We have just got 16,743 judges, which includes subordinate judiciary, High Court and the Supreme Court. Just 16,743. In that, retired community is again very less. Their health condition, too many parameters we have to take care. So here my amendment and my suggestion is, We should have a separate wing, like how we have called Indian Administrative Services, Indian Police Services, like this. We should have a separate wing called Indian Political Services. I repeat, Indian Political Services. And this wing again must report directly to the President of India. Now the selection criteria of this Indian Political Services is a candidate must not be less than 35 years of age. Yes, a candidate must possess at least 10 years of experience in any service sector, teaching, a field of law, field of medicine, any service sector. A candidate must clear a very stringent exam, an exam which is a combination of UPSC and the common admission test. UPSC does have a level of the quantitative aptitude and the mathematical reasoning, but not to the level of the common admission test. You must be aware the UPSC for the IAS, IPS, etc., whereas the common admission test is for IIMs. So a candidate must clear a test, such a stringent test, which is a combination of the UPSC and the common admission test. Last but by no means least, this candidate must be a PhD holder in the political science. Yes, not the bachelor's, I'm talking about PhD, a doctorate in the political science. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? What else we wanted? These people are definitely going to be good people. If these amendments can happen by 2024, by 2034 I'm telling you, 4,120 MLAs, 545 Lok Sabha members, 245 Rajya Sabha members, everyone would be replaced by either a retired judge or a person who is very much qualified, a doctorate. At the age of 35 and above, they are, with passion to serve the nation. At the age of 35 and above, they crack such a stringent examination, a club of UPSC and CAT, and with the love towards the service, they go and do PhD. They get a PhD in the political science. They are nowhere less than the judges. We want this, man. We want this type of policies, and we need to work very seriously on these type of amendments, these type of acts, and together we can, trust me, this is the only way we can clean this assemblies, all the state assemblies in parliament, and at least your future generation will be under the, taken care by good people. And this can happen. I just need a 1 crore Indian support, right? If you like this idea, if you believe in this idea, just on a paper you write that you believe in the idea of the amendments of NOTA, re-election. Just simple write-up that you believe in the concept and signature, and take a photograph of it and send an email to us. In the in the description box you will find the email ID. Rest, our legal team will contact you, because if 1 crore signed copies, if you file it as a petition in the Supreme Court of India, definitely by 2024 Supreme Court of India will give the instruction to the Election Commission of India to consider having a re-election wherever the NOTA wins. Nandri, Vanakkam.